Welcome to Sister Sessions, a podcast where two sisters on very different journeys explore what it means to live spiritually in today's world. My sister, Jenny Fairbank, is the co-founder and spiritual director of Wisdom Pathways, a yoga and meditation teacher, and a somatic healer devoted to guiding others toward inner peace. And I'm Susie Gustin, a mom of three, producer and owner of Red City Live Entertainment, embracing life's joys while searching for deeper meaning. Together, we have honest, relatable conversations about finding balance, purpose, and connection in everyday life. So, settle in. You are exactly where you need to be. Welcome to Sister Sessions. Hello, and welcome back to Sister Sessions, Jenny Fairbank.
Welcome back, Sister Susie Gustin. How are you?
I'm so good, and let's set the record straight that we are on episode 9. So anyone that's caught up, you can totally make fun of me because in the past episode before this, which was 8, I called it 7 and said I'm probably wrong at 6, was off completely. And I guess that's the fun of us having these, organic, off-the-cuff conversations without much editing besides, again, our dogs barking. But here we are at 9. Which is exciting because we're like so close to 10. That's a little milestone.
Yes, I agree. It has been so fun. I really enjoy this because, I get to see you while we're talking. Not that we don't do FaceTime sometimes, but it's just really fun. I love it.
Yeah, my kids are not allowed to interrupt these calls.
Yes.
That's the big difference.
That's a huge difference.
Yes. So you're having a good day?
Yes, this morning is beautiful. It's peaceful. I did have a massive helicopter today come over our house. Like, I've never seen a helicopter so low. I thought, wow, it could almost land on my house really easily. It was very low and it was just kind of going around, and I watched it. It was so loud. It's so quiet here, and I have no idea what it was.
Yeah, those were loud too.
Doing.
I lived in Hollywood for a long time, so I know that noise.
Yes.
Yeah, wow.
But been a great morning.
Cool. Yeah, all is well here too.
Good.
So I would love to talk today about protecting our peace. Because sometimes people have toxic environments that they aren't going to be able to navigate away from easily. Work environments, a co-worker, family members, maybe the house that you live in. And so I really want to talk about how we can protect our inner peace and what are some signs that your peace is being disrupted. So I'll just start with all that and just talk to me about what you're thinking. What are your thoughts here?
Ooh. First of all, I love that you asked that because I think that's really important. First, to be able to identify that, because sometimes we're so caught in it and we're so used to a certain energy and certain people that we're around that we don't even realize how toxic it might be, right? So to identify that, you want to be able to notice your feelings. How are you feeling? How are your thoughts? Or when you walk in, say it's an office and a coworker, and you're having a great morning at home and you're doing your thing and you're driving into work, and then you get there and you're feeling fine until you interact with this person or are around this person, and then something in you shifts. But you're maybe haven't been aware. You might not have been aware of why, but there's something that shifts and you maybe start to feel agitated, annoyed, disgruntled, just something off. And nothing happened necessarily, but you aren't feeling right. You have to be able to identify that and know that there is something off, that nothing external necessarily happened to cause this, but I don't feel right. So awareness is always the first step in anything. In order for us to change anything, be able to do something different, we need to be aware of what's happening. So first, being able to notice, okay, being around this person, I start to feel unsettled. not okay. And okay, so that's a sign. Those are lots of signs, right? Be aware of, okay, there's something not right here for me. And then once you know that this is a problem for you and you can't get away from it because they're a coworker or they live in your household or, something where you don't have easy an exit from them, there's many things you can actually do. One is, I tell this often to people. Let's say you're gonna go. We'll use the example of being in an office with somebody that is difficult. While you are driving into work or however you're getting into work, while you're commuting, start to build up your positive energy. And you can do that by simply taking some deep breaths and using perhaps an affirmation to keep your mind in a positive state. For example, you can say, I protect my energy. I choose peace and positivity. I protect my energy. I choose peace and positivity, and imagine a bubble of light around you, a protective bubble of light. And it can take 30 seconds, honestly, at the least.
Yeah, I think it's important to figure out how to protect your energy without isolating yourself, because say it's a family member and you stop going to events that you maybe enjoyed. You're like, I want to go to there for Thanksgiving, or I want to go to this birthday party or this baby shower, but I don't want to see them. So, but you want to see everyone else, but then you choose isolation. So how can we navigate being around these people, protecting our peace without isolating ourselves from others as the answer? Like really, it's hard for a lot of people to be around certain people. It sucks you dry and you get all up in your head, and if they look at you wrong, you get all excited about it. And if a lot of people choose isolation, and I don't just mean isolating from that situation, and that's not always the answer, and that's not always even it's not fair to yourself to choose that answer. So it's
And
like, go ahead. Yeah, that's what.
it's not necessary either. I mean, unless if you're being physically harmed, and you need to remove yourself, find a way if you can to remove yourself out of the situation if they are blatantly trying to attack you mentally, verbally or physically or something like that. We're not going to that just
Right.
talk, right? We're talking about just people who you have a challenging relationship with, or
And is
that.
there a way to navigate a relationship with that person other
Yes,
than avoiding?
absolutely. Well, first, energetically creating that bubble and bringing that positive thinking into your mind, right, is one step. Visualizing that protective shield, and that's a barrier energetically. They cannot penetrate that barrier. Like you can ask your guardian angels to help you, your guides, in that protective bubble. And there's a very important part here that no matter what that person says to you or how they behave, how they look at you, you have to really look at this from a different perspective, a bigger perspective, that is actually not personal. And it's not an easy teaching because so many of us, we just automatically, our egos take everything personally. We think it's about us. Oh, they don't like us. It's about me. I did something wrong, or I'm not good enough. However you're trying to justify it, that is not the reality. The reality is that person is acting out based on their own level of consciousness, based on their own stuff that's going on inside of their energy
Is that
field.
fear?
It can be many things. The very base of any real block in our consciousness is fear. Yes, at the very bottom of it. But that can show up as anger, annoyance, feeling shameful, like anything that is a difficult energy underneath is fear, a block that is in our consciousness. So when you are looking at needing to be around somebody who might be very negative or treats you unkindly and you can't get away from them, It's really important, instead of feeding that anger by you being angry, or feeding their energy by you dropping into a lower vibrational frequency,
Mhm.
and you are making it worse when you do that, versus stepping back, having the protective bubble, opening your heart, and having compassion for them, actually, that they must be suffering greatly to be having this kind of experience for themselves, to be seeing everyone as maybe they're angry at everyone, or they're annoyed by many people. But that's really not about anybody else. That's about them. We are reflections of our consciousness. So whatever's going on inside of us is being projected out in a mirror and mirroring back.
Mhm.
So it's the way that our soul shows up, our consciousness shows up, right? What's going on inside of us. If we're holding on a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, a lot of regret, it's going to affect our energy field, right?
Right.
We're creating, right? So we have this inside of us, and then we're reflecting it out, and then it's reflecting back to us through other people.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of the hardest things to do. It is easy to step away, right? To isolate yourself from that person. Da, da, da. And maybe if it's a baby shower, that's an easy way to do it. But if you cannot, because it's your work environment and you love your job and this is what you do, that's a hard thing to do. That takes a lot of work. And knowing the importance of protecting your inner peace, it's so important.
You
Doing the
really,
work, yeah,
really need to observe them from a different lens.
yeah. I like that. I like that. And almost having compassion. They're going through something. Doesn't mean that you want to like go over and hug them and say, let's go have tea. But you're not looking at them with anger, with hate, with negativity, with judgment. And I feel like that will help you as well because you won't have all those bad feelings. Your feelings will be of kindness and of love. Again, not like, let's go hang out and have a cup of tea, but it's like with kindness and love that is then going to make you feel better and protect your peace. I'm
Well,
getting
good. Well, the other part of it, Suze, is that you have to look at also your side of it. Why am I in this situation? There is a reason for me to be in communication with this person, relation with this person in some way. It is not an accident that you have to be around this person. It isn't. There are no accidents in this universe of beautifully divine orchestration. There are no accidents. So you have to really look at, okay, what is it that I can learn about myself through this person?
it.
That's what you need to ask yourself.
Yeah, and I think that being around someone that I don't ever like to say can't, but you choose not to avoid because they're a coworker and you choose your job, right? I think that a healthy way to navigate that would also to be set boundaries for yourself, right? And a lot of people, like, how do you set boundaries though without feeling guilty or selfish because you did that?
Give me an example, because this is a problem for, I want to say, especially women, of setting boundaries and thinking that it's not okay, or we're being rude, or it's somehow too powerful or overpowering. What do you what it
Well,
give me?
I would say you just nailed it for sure with the female thing. I just had a conversation with someone about this recently. Were asking me questions about female interactions and negative. And I think that's a great we probably do have a lot of female listeners. Hey to the shout out to the men also, but just in terms of talking, like, women can be very catty with each other, which is so sad because, man, you know, if we can't lift each other up and when we are up to cheer for each other and mean it and all of that stuff. So, yes, I think you do hit it on the nail. It does seem to kind of resonate with female relationships for sure. And setting boundaries is something that is difficult for people because they feel guilty for doing it or feel selfish and I feel like that's
the healthy way to navigate it is, okay, we're going to do this. I'm going to set boundaries for myself. I'm not going to let you do this or treat me this way, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I mean, I completely see that in women very often, because we were taught to be passive and kind and sweet and, agreeable. And that is shifting. We are stepping into more of our power and saying no more frequently than we were taught that we should say no, that we have to be this certain way. And we're breaking those barriers, which is beautiful. I see that very clearly. We are breaking those barriers, and setting boundaries is healthy for you and the other people. It's not just, oh, this is all about what I need and it's good for everyone. So you can't think about this as a selfish act. It's actually healthy. And it's healthy when you set boundaries and you share those with other people. And then they get to learn, well, I can set my boundaries too. I can set boundaries. I have some things I want to protect here. I need to protect myself in certain ways. And I need to protect my time, my energy, whatever it is that you need to set boundaries around. But, first and foremost, know thyself, know who and what you truly are and what you truly need. And do not apologize for asking for it. There's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, it's very empowering. And most of the time, your loved ones or your coworkers or whoever you're engaged with are going to appreciate that in some way. And if they don't, that's okay. That's where they are. We have to let go of judging other people and thinking they should be the way we are. They should think the way we think, or they should be where we are in our minds of things. Everybody has the right to choose how they feel and believe and act in life. Yes. And we need to honor their free will and their sovereignty. And it is all okay. It's okay if you disagree with what I say. I'm okay with that. I don't need you to believe me. It doesn't really matter to me. What I'm sharing the information and the guidance, the wisdom I know based on all the learning that I've done over the past 2 decades, all of the deep studying and the meditations and the teaching that I've done, because I am so passionate, as you know, like extremely passionate about everybody waking up to who and what they truly are, which is a divine being. And I'm going to say this every time we talk, right? We are divine beings having a human temporary experience on this planet that is a school. So let's not take it so seriously that we start to suffer, right? But actually do our work. Yes. Put all the effort in you can, put out the best energy you can, and then let go of the outcome.
Yes.
Do not worry about how everybody else is and what everybody else is doing or not doing, or how they think about you or don't think about you, or how they treat you or how they don't treat you. Think about Jesus Christ. What a beautiful pillar of an example of how to be in this world. And the things that he shared, his teachings were spot on, of course. He's a master. To say, you are just like me, is what he says. What I can do, you can do, and even greater things, because we are pure consciousness, and we need to wake up to that.
Yeah. I love how Michael Singer always says that we don't need to suffer.
We don't.
And he has that cute little laugh that he always has. We don't need to suffer.
We don't.
And it's like the most refreshing thing to hear. We don't? That is awesome. Okay, I'm looking at everything with a different lens now. But because sometimes you feel like, and yes, we are here to learn lessons. And yes, there are trials. But how we handle them is where the suffering is chosen.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all that is the thing. That is what we need to understand, that everything is coming for us as an opportunity to wake us up.
Yeah.
Basic bottom line. So when we're talking about protecting our energy, right? And we can talk about that more. I could give you more tips and tricks and all that stuff. But one of the things that you need to remember, regardless, is that really, truly, you're always protected. Always. Your soul can never, ever be injured or damaged or lost. It's impossible. We are a part of the fabric of this universe, and we don't go away. We're infinite beings. We transform and we change and we shed these bodies, yes, but we are not ever really truly dying. It never happens. So yes, we need to be aware of, who we spend our time with. Yes, because it does affect us, right? Like I was saying earlier, when you walk into the office and you're feeling great and then all of a sudden energy just shifts and you're feeling down and you're feeling yucky, because you now can be present with, oh, it's because whenever I'm around that person, I don't feel right. And I don't know what that is. You have to really pay attention to yourself. And when you do, then you think, okay, what do I want to do, right? Like we talked about protective bubble, saying positive thoughts to yourself, seeing them as another soul who is working through their journey and who is on a different place than you are and is acting out in the ways that they are based on what's going on for their inner consciousness, right? We got that established, right? Now, it's actually, again, going into the heart and sending out good vibrations, even if you don't like them. And especially if you don't like them, I want to task you with this.
Yes, if you're sitting in the office and you see that person come in and you're like, oh shit, this is for you. This is for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Go into your heart, drop out of your head, go into your heart, breathe, feel your body, connect with the earth, and remember that we are beings of light and that person is a being of light and that person is coming to you for you to help you grow, to help you learn something about yourself. So you can get to the place of compassion and to gratitude. That's the ultimate of gratitude for this person being in your life that is one of your greatest teachers. I say this all the time. I've said this for decades. The people in your life that cause you the most challenge are your greatest gifts.
Teachers.
Your greatest, I always say greatest teachers.
Teachers, yeah.
No, I changed the word for a minute. Greatest teachers, absolutely. And you want to have love for that. And I know that's really hard from the ego side because you're like, but she treats me this way or he's this way. And don't judge.
Yeah. And it does. I have used it through talking with you, and it's true. It's so true. Letting go of any type of negative feelings or ill will. Not ill will. I've never had ill will, but negative feelings, and really letting go and letting love in and letting go. It's a game changer. And then you stop the questions in your head too. Why is this like this? Why doesn't this person like me? Why don't I like them? Why do they drive me crazy? I feel bad about that. Well,
Yeah.
do the work.
Do your work. And the other part of it is that there's most likely some kind of, and this goes back to lessons, right? Karma with that other person that you have to work out that is going to help you expand your consciousness. So when you come into a place, when you get to that place of having compassion for that person and seeing them more than just an ego and a body, a personality, but actually a divine being. And then when you start to cultivate gratitude for them, because that is a part of the divine, and the divine is trying to wake you up through this person. That's massive right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I definitely don't want people to think that every time that you don't have a bond with someone or someone's not being kind to you, that you have to find this and force yourself to be around them. You don't. We're talking about situations that, a work environment, places that, you go to a family function and it's a family member, so they're there, things like that, where you're not avoiding them. And it is also okay to set boundaries that you aren't going to be in someone's life anymore because you feel mistreated and you don't feel uplifted, and they're draining your energy in a negative way that it's not healthy. That's okay. There's a boundary that you are allowed to set where this relationship, whether it be a friend, a lover, whatever, this is over.
Susie, such a important point. And the thing about that also is you want to look at, where does my growth lie? Because all growth is directional. And, what is going to be expansive for me might be contractive for you. The same situation, right? So, for example, if you want to get out of a relationship and you're in a relationship that is not healthy, and you say, okay, but I'm afraid to get out of it. And you start questioning yourself and all of these things. You want to look at, where does my growth lie? To stand up for myself and say no? Or maybe that's something that you do so much and you overdo that, where you need to look at, wait, maybe my growth lies in pivoting and doing something different than saying no. Maybe I need to step up in a different way. Like, our growth looks different.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a classic example, and I don't know if I've shared this at all in this podcast, about Gandhi. It's like one of my favorite examples because it's so crystal clear to depict this, to describe this. So for Gandhi, who was actually an attorney by trade, in India, everybody knows who Gandhi was, right? He was on this mission to separate India from the regime and to be independent. And he wasn't going to fight. He's like, I am very much against that. It is part of, as a yogi, we don't cause pain. We don't fight. We don't kill. We don't harm anyone or anything, ideally. So for him, he started to become popular because he's on this peace movement. Everybody knew him. He was really, being built up in the country. And he could have at that point said, wow, I am so popular. Everybody knows who I am. People are listening to me. I'm going to open a practice and I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm going to be a lawyer and I'm going to rake it in. For Gandhi, and the way his consciousness was, that would have been contractive for his growth. But that same thing, somebody who is a lazy kind of person who doesn't really put out a lot of energy, who likes to lay on the couch and barely works and doesn't do much, for him to say, you know what, I'm going to be an attorney. I'm going to become an attorney and I'm going to make a lot of money. For that soul, it's expansive. So that same act would be expansive for Gandhi, but contractive for Gandhi and expansive for the other person. Do you see?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to really look at, where does my growth lie and what is going to expand me? And that always, the answer is not going to be from the ego. And it's never going to be out of, if you're fearing something, if you have a fear inside of yourself, then that is your cue, your clue to say, okay, there's something here for me to learn because I'm afraid, and fear is a block. And we want to move past all fears. So in order to move past all fears, we have to dive into it. Sometimes we have to lean into that fear and do it anyway. Like, some people would never want to do a podcast. They'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be heard. I don't want to know. I don't want to, but I want to, but I'm afraid. I would love to, but I'm afraid. Then do it. Because you're going to overcome that fear and then look back and say, wow, that was really hard, but look where I am now. And now I'm not afraid. And now I can talk in public, and now I can speak my truth and share my voice to the world.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Oh, that makes so much sense. Oh, yeah. That makes so much sense.
So, another thing that I was thinking about, with energy and protection, a lot of people use crystals on a regular basis, and crystals have consciousness. I know that sounds so crazy, but I know it's true. And I've learned that it's true. And crystals are very powerful. So certain crystals, and I am no expert in crystals. I usually forget names very easily with crystals, but I do know that there are some specific crystals that are good for protecting energy. And black tourmaline is one of them. So you could get a black tourmaline and hold it. You could put it in your purse, your pocket. Having it in your physical connection is good, or even just around you. So if your office, put it on your desk. kind of thing,
Put
put
a
it
little
in.
boundary there of all of them. Make a grid. Step into it when you get there.
The other
And
thing
just
is,
sit there and be like, I'm fine.
yeah, right? Like in your crystal bed.
Like Nancy went nuts over there at the desk.
She's crystals all over. She's going cuckoo.
Everyone's leaving her alone just because they think she went a little cuckoo. And Nancy's like, these crystals are working.
Exactly.
Oh God, that's funny. No, I like it. Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to even have it shown, you can hide
Right.
it. I have a black tourmaline, beautiful heart shape, and they're also good for blocking EMFs on your phones. So I actually bought it to put my phone on because it helps block the EMFs.
What's that?
Black tourmaline. So, our phones, they emit electromagnetic energy.
Right.
And so there's a lot around that whole story of like people being worried about that affecting us, But anyway, I have it for that reason. Well, not the only reason, but it is, black tourmaline's a really good one. Also, amethyst is a good crystal for blocking negative energy, protects from emotional negativity. So amethyst is really good. Clear quartz and labradorite also. So, you can use those. The other thing is, burning sage or Palo Santo with an intention. So it's not just like, "Ooh, let's burn this," right?
Right.
You have to get grounded. You have to be intentional. I like to chant when I do those things.
Mhm.
You're bringing in high vibrations. You can just use an affirmation. You can say, I know I protect my energy. I choose peace and positivity. I release all negative energy around me. All those things, really simple, but it actually moves the energy.
Yeah.
Remember, this is not woo-woo, everyone. This is not some pie in the sky weird stuff. There's actually proof of these things being true and real.
Yeah.
I know it used to be woo-woo. Even 20 years ago, it was like, ooh, that's not real, and they're just playing around. It is real, very real, and ancient information. This isn't new. This isn't new age. This is actually very old age that is now coming more to light. And we have now a deeper understanding of what these crystals do, what our thoughts actually do, that they are energy patterns like every single thing that exists. There's nothing that isn't energy patterns. That's all this is.
Mm-hmm.
So, using these kinds of tools are really great to cleanse yourself, and then when you get home, say you get home from the office and you're just like, okay, I need to really cleanse myself. Take a bath in lavender salt and Epsom salts and, imagine releasing that energy. There's so many things that we can do, really, to cleanse our energy.
Cool.
So it's really important stuff.
So we can tell when our energy is being drained physically. We need to be aware of why. Correct? Like going back to the beginning of this conversation, because you were like, the first thing is awareness. So what are the signs that you need to look for, or not? I mean, hopefully you don't have them, but what are the signs that do pop up when your energy is being drained? Is it just physically feeling heavy?
That can be, but it can be very subtle where all of a sudden you start thinking negatively. What you're going to start thinking negatively, you look at that, see that person, you're like, ooh, I don't want to be around her. Ooh, I don't like him. Ooh, you're judging. Your ego is completely engaged. You are trying to fight against what is happening in the world, right? Like this person walking in, I don't like it. So right then your energy drops and your ego is in charge. And your ego has the likes and dislikes and judgment and all the things and criticism and comparison. We need to be aware when that comes on, and when we come into that space, we need to identify that and say, okay, I am in the wrong energy.
Yeah.
I don't want this. I want to feel positive. I want to feel happy. I want to think positively. You have to be, once you become aware of that, then you have to take a step. The next step is changing your energy,
Mhm.
taking a deep breath, grounding yourself. If you need to step away, go to the restroom or take a step outside.
Yeah, and remember too, we're talking about this. We're humans. This is going to come up and it's going to happen. It's not like if you feel this way or you feel negatively towards someone that you're a bad person. It means that you need to look inside and work and ask the questions and all the things that you're saying. So I don't want anyone to think that, oh my gosh, it's bad of me to think this way. And it comes up. We're humans. And life happens all around us and we don't get along with everyone and that's okay, but it is goes back to how you handle everything is where your happiness lies and where your peace is found. Really, where your peace is found, and if you're peaceful, you're most likely happy. Yeah.
Yes. Peace is very important, and one of the first real kind of I call it kind of tangible because you feel it so intensely. I do sometimes, that you experience after meditation. When you meditate a lot, you just naturally feel peaceful on the regular. So, did you have a question? Did you ask me a question? Or no? You didn't, right?
Yeah, no, I was just saying that I just want people to realize that if you do have negative feelings towards someone, or if you're having an issue with an environment or something, that's normal. I mean, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not negative. You're not a bad person. We're humans. We're having experiences. It's how do we handle the experience? How
That's
are
right.
you handling it? How are you finding your own peace? How are you setting boundaries? And not bringing in the negativity and stop thinking you're wasting your time thinking negative about somebody that drives you nuts. You're wasting your time. What are you doing? Think about something else. You know, it's not solving anything. You're not feeling better. They're not changing. But let it go. Let them be who they are. Find the peace inside yourself and move on. That's
Amen, sister.
that's my
I agree with you 100%. Absolutely. Easier said than done,
of
because we
course. That's why
so
we're having this whole conversation.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But absolutely. Their ways have nothing to do with you. And one of my favorite sayings, and I don't even know who said this first. Somebody could maybe tell me. I don't know, but you know, the famous quote by someone that says, "What other people think of you is none of your business." I
Yes.
love that so much.
I say it all the time to myself because it's true. It's none of my business. I don't have any reason to know or care what you think about me or what you say when I'm not in the room. It affects me in zero way.
Exactly.
It is the most invigorating, peaceful thought to have too. To actually practice is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, when you really embrace that in your life, then it takes away the fear of judgment,
Oh yeah.
which so many people live in. Great fear of being judged because they're judging themselves.
Hmm.
Remember, it's a reflection of your consciousness. We are reflections of our consciousness. So if you live in a great state of peace, you're going to see peace all around you.
Yes, yes, yes. And I heard this morning this guy that is so awesome to listen to talk on. He has a following on Instagram. He's an older gentleman that lives in Florida, and he's just the cutest thing ever. But he was today talking about. He always gives an inspirational 1 minute speech, and it's great. And today it was about the reason that a lot of times people see bad and darkness in the world is because there's not a lot of it. We take for granted all the awesomeness that's around us because it's always there. He's kind of like, it's like when your house smells so good and you're just used to it until someone comes in and they're like, because they aren't used to it. And he's like, so one bad thing pops up and now you're so focused on it because you're used to everything else. He's like, don't focus on the one bad thing that comes up. Focus on everything around you that you've been taking for granted. Love that. And he said it so much cuter and fun. But it's the point.
Yeah. put his name in the show notes so people can follow him on Instagram
Oh my gosh, I will.
if they want
Love
to.
him.
You know, being positive is not Pollyanna. It is a choice. And we know that there is suffering in the world. We know that there is a lot of challenge. And that is real. And we need to honor that and know that a lot of people are struggling greatly right now and will continue to. And we're in some times that are very unprecedented, are very different, are very unstable.
Well, that is another. I'm glad that you're saying this. I'm going to let you continue. I'm just going to kind of guide you to where I want you to go with this. Is we've been focusing, so protecting your peace is really what I want to talk about. We've been focusing a lot about relationships, but at the same time, protecting your peace in the world, in the environment, in what's going on. You know, what's going on the news, what's happening in the world. We also, protecting our peace in that is so important. So yes, go on about that.
You know, it's so fascinating to me, all the people I speak with on a weekly basis doing sessions, that since the election, not one of them is listening to any news. And I feel so grateful for that, because I can see how that is affecting them in a very positive way. No one that I work with right now around that is in fear. No one is worried. People are focused on taking care of their life and doing the best they can to serve in the world and to put out good energy. Mm-hmm. That is all we can do. Mm-hmm. But if we are engaged a lot in what is happening on a daily, minute by minute basis, especially right now with what's happening in our new regime of the government, I am not judging any of that. I really am neutral about all of that. What I know to be true is that what is happening is exactly what is supposed to happen for the expansion of our consciousness on this planet. So I have all the faith in the world in the divine energy. So I'm not in a place of judging that or worrying about any of that. And what I'm so proud of is that the people that I work with are in that same place. So we need to protect our energy in terms of what we are choosing to intake. What news, what people are saying, what are we listening to? What are we engaged with? Because that affects us. Mm-hmm. We can pretend all day long that it doesn't. Let me just tell you, it does. Yeah. You know it. We all know this. I don't know anything more than you know. You know everything I know, all of you. I'm nothing. I can't help but speak about it. And you guys know it. You just may be clouded by some things, fear or worry or overthinking about what is happening or what might happen. Let go of predicting anything or trying to think that we know what's going to happen, because we don't. So why don't we stay here now in the present moment and do our best to serve the world in the highest way we can, however that looks for you. And that doesn't have to be some big grandiose gesture. I mean, it is literally, are you calm inside? Are you choosing to feel peace? Are you choosing to be positive? Are you choosing to love your neighbor as yourself? Treating others the way you want to be treated? I mean, these are so basic. That's all we need to do. We don't need to do some big thing. If we want to and we can, great. But that's not necessary. Our energy affects the whole. Think about it. If you have a swimming pool and the swimming pool is crystal clear and there's no debris in it and it looks great and everything's beautiful and it looks so wonderful and everything's flowing nicely, and then you dump a black cup of coffee in it, there's going to be it's going to filter out and affect the water, right? That's us. Like if we dump all our crap out and just spew hate and blah, 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 we are dumping mud, whatever we want to call it, in the waters. And we're muddying it. Don't think, well, it's only in my thought and I don't say anything out loud. I'm just thinking all these negative things. It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. And I'll tell you, telepathy is real.
Yeah, I know
People
what's
keep
that.
up. Oh my gosh, you guys. And we talked about this last week, didn't we? The
Mhm.
telepathy tapes. I am jaw dropped beyond, like, I knew this was real. I knew it. I knew it. But to see this and to hear these experiences and all these people, it is beyond. I am just so excited about it because that, here's the thing about us. We're so interesting. When we, as a collective of humanity, believe that we can't do something, then we can't, right? Like
Right.
the example of like the 4-minute mile, right? No one thought that would be possible as a human to do that. And then one person did, broke that. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden everybody could do it.
It's just like now. I mean, the Olympics and the bar just keeps getting set higher and higher and higher, and someone's always going to come up and up and up. And they're not going to jump to here. If the bar is here, they're going to reach. Yes. Yes.
Because what we think we are, we are.
Yes.
So now that the telepathy tapes have gone viral and so many people are listening and engaging in this, a collective is going to start to believe we can do this. Actually,
Yeah.
we can do this. And then we're going to be able to. I mean, we already can, but we have to believe we can.
Right. I know it's the second time that I'm bringing him up, Michael Singer, but it's because he always says about in the opposite frame, if you can do something, then you can't. For example, if you can pick up a cigarette and smoke it, you can not pick up the cigarette and smoke it. So people are like, you don't understand. I can't quit smoking. And he's like, well, you can, because if you can, then you can't. It's like, it makes sense. It sounds so simple, but it's right. Like, if you can pour that glass of alcohol and drink it, well, then you can't pour it too. It's the same thing. And it is as simple. He really simplifies things.
Mm-hmm.
He
Agreed.
almost makes you think, like, why do I make it so difficult?
We do. We overthink, we overcomplicate, we overjudge, we do all these things. It's all the ego side of it that is trying to figure it out intellectually. And this isn't intellectual. This is soul, deep level of awareness, the wisdom that already lies within us. I mean, it's all there. It's just clouded by things. It's obscured. It's like an obstruction, like the shadow over the sun. The sun's still there, even if a cloud covers it. It's not gone. It's just it's not visible. Our divinity, our light is inside of us. We can't see it, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
Well, I live in Pittsburgh, so I will question if the sun is still there. I'm not so sure, but I get
Have faith. It's there.
there's hope.
Oh yeah, our as best we can surrounding ourselves with positive people and positive engagements in all ways would be great. Is that possible? Not really, fully, but to the best we can. I mean, it's
Your
it really,
circle. You can
it
work on your
counterbalances.
circle.
Yeah,
Work on
it
your circle.
counterbalances that negative energy, right? So you want to be around people who think like you and feel like you do and are uplifted and we know that's not necessarily easy, but it is so, so, so powerful when we do. So, meditation, affirmation, gratitude practice, protecting your energy through those things, crystals,
Yeah.
all kinds of things.
Little habits. If you have a sister that you don't like, which I can't imagine having, say you have a sister you don't like and you see her name pop up on your phone, she's calling you and you're like, ugh. Well, let's practice stopping that.
Yeah.
Like, okay. When you go, ugh, okay, don't do that anymore. Say, okay. Hope there's nothing wrong. Hope my sister's doing well. Pick up the phone. The little habits that are negative, just like making that face and just feeling disgust for a moment. Try to work on that. Because it's so easy to do those little habits.
So
Don't.
true.
Just work on little habits at a time. And that can become bigger.
Definitely. That I think that's beautiful. Yes. Instead of
Yes.
right, and just settle in, breathe, relax, and drop into your heart. Heart centered is where we need to be, because that is our divinity. That is, we are so unique and we are so intertwined, and we're such a beautiful species. Really, this planet is such a gift. Being on this planet is such a gift. And we need to honor that. We need to be grateful for that. And yeah, we go through trials and tribulations and challenges and all kinds of things, but that is what we signed up for, so that we can grow. You don't grow when you don't get pushed, right? If you go to the gym and you just lift 5 pounds forever and you never push yourself to do higher weights, you're never going to grow. Your muscles aren't going to get stronger, right? They're going to static. They're going to be like, this is way easy. Okay, yeah, this is easy. I'm still doing something. I'm still working out, but I'm not breaking a sweat. I mean, how far are you going to get? A little bit. It's good, but it's not. We want to grow. And in order to grow, we've got to push our boundaries, our comfort zone. We should be riding that comfort zone, doing things that we're afraid of doing, because that's how we grow. We push through that block in our consciousness, and we say, I can go on a podcast and talk. I can, whatever you're afraid of. And not that I was afraid of this, because there's nothing here to be afraid of, but people are, you know?
Yeah.
And so I get it because they're afraid to be judged. What if people are going to say something bad? Who cares? You guys say whatever you want. Bring it.
Yeah, we already talked about this, and we said, hey, it's just not going to be for everyone. And that is, if you're not enjoying it, we love you. And it's just, this one isn't for you.
Yeah, of course. It's so freeing. It's so freeing to let go of judgment. I think judgment is huge. Like the fear of judgment, the fear of being judged, judging other people, all of that, because that's part of that negative, heavy energy, right? And just doesn't matter what people think. You be you.
Yep. Let's all get out there and practice protecting our peace. We got some great tidbits. And next, we're going on to episode 10, you guys.
Double digits.
Getting old. All right. So I'll leave you with the last words.
All right. Well, I really want to remind you to use that mental affirmation. I protect my energy. I choose peace and positivity. All is well.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the Sister Sessions podcast. If you found inspiration in today's conversation, we'd love it if you shared the episode with your besties, family, or even your favorite neighbors. We'll be back next week with more to share, but until then, remember, meditation is the key to unlocking your inner peace. All is well, friends. See you soon.